Shalom, family. Peace and blessings to everyone. Welcome to the book room on tonight. Hallelujah. We are excited to be back in your presence. We're going to do one thing real quick. We want to welcome everyone tonight. Tonight is basically what we do on Monday nights. We have not been able to keep this commitment as we wanted to, but we're trying to stick with it. We've been designated a 1 month out of the year that's called Black History Month, but you couldn't put, there's no way you can put our history, cram it into 1 month. There's so much. We go all the way back to the beginning, which is the Garden of Eden. So there's so much information that we don't know, and we want to share something with you tonight. I'm hoping I can get it done. I have the last part. I don't have. I need to find a page, the last page, but I have it on my phone. But for some reason, I'm trying to get this something to work here, which is why is it not supported? I'm just trying to give me 1 second. I must have did something in here. What does that look like? Okay, for some reason I'm having an issue with my phone. Give me 1 second, fam. Let me just see if I can figure this out. Don't go nowhere. All right. I have this printed out, but I'm missing a page for some reason. Give me just one more look over here, then I'm going to start it. I can't finish it. Forgive me, forgive me. Just look for one page. I think it's mixed up in here. Okay, we're not going to prolong the time. I'm going to read it, then I'm going to have to read it from my phone. I can't get my phone to rotate the way it normally does, so I can turn it sideways, and I'm trying to figure out why. Why it's not allowing me to do it, I don't know. Just crazy, just crazy. But see if I can print it. Totally unorganized, totally unprofessional at this point. So sorry. I don't know why I'm missing. It shouldn't be, but it is. All right. My apologies for a short time. This is not what I'm looking for. It's not allowing me to do anything. All right, family. We're going to read the Willie Lynch letter, The Making of a Slave. I appreciate the encouragement. But I have it. I just got to do my best with it. All right. All right. Abba, we thank you, praise, and magnify you for your goodness and your mercy. We ask, Abba, that you would bless this reading, Father, that you help us. Just give us understanding, Father, as we read this history. Many believe, some believe it, some don't, Abba, but we trust and believe that because what we see in the behavior of our people, we believe that it is true. It's not scripture, but it is history, Abba, and it's a history that we need to be aware of and know of in order to be able to identify many of our behaviors that are so dysfunctional. So we thank and praise and magnify you for all things. Bless the ears of the hearer. In the name of your son, Yahweh Shai Mashiach. Hallelujah. And so forgive me, family, once again. The Willie Lynch letter, Making of a Slave. This speech was delivered by Willie Lynch on the bank of James River in the colony of Virginia in 1712. Lynch was a British slave owner in the West Indies. He was invited to the colony of Virginia in 1712 to teach his methods to the slave derived from his last name. Okay? The term lynching is derived from his last name. Okay, let me just get this, cut this out the way. All right. And the letter is dated December 25th, 1712. There's nothing going on. I hope I can. I need to learn how to edit some of this stuff so I don't have to. Okay. December 25th, 7. All right, I'm back. No more disruptions, okay? No more disruptions. I'm going to start over and I'll figure out a way to edit the beginning. The Willie Lynch letter, The Making of and think about them. On top of my list is age, but it's there only because it starts with an A. Generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. Don't forget, you must pitch the old black male versus the young black male, and the young black male against the old black male. You must use the dark skinned slaves versus light skinned slaves, the light skinned slaves versus the dark skinned slaves. You must use the female versus the male. Think about it, y'all. And the male versus the female. You must also have you must also have you while white servants you must also have you white servants and overseers. You must also have you white servants and overseers distrust all blacks. It is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. Gentlemen, these kits are your keys to control. Use them. Have your wives and children use them. Never miss an opportunity. If you intensely, for 1 year, the slaves, if used intensely for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful of each other. Name one people on earth that fit this. All other nations stick together. All other people stick together. Let's keep reading. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's make a slave. It was the interest and business of slaveholders to study human nature, and the slave nature in particular, with a view to practical results. I and many of them attained astonishing proficiency in this direction. They had to deal not with earth, wood, and stone, but with men, and by every regard they had for their own safety and prosperity. They needed to know the material on which they were to work. Conscious of the injustice and wrong they were every hour perpetrating and knowing what they themselves would do. Were they the victims of such wrongs? They were constantly looking for the first sign of the dreaded retribution. They watched, therefore, with skilled and practiced eyes, and learned to read with great accuracy the state of mind and heart of the slave. Through his stable face or sable face, unusual sobriety, apparent abstractions, sullenness, and indifferences indeed. Any move out of the common was afforded ground for suspicious and inquiry. Let's make us a slave. What do we need? First of all, we need a black nigger man, a pregnant nigger woman, and her baby nigger boy. Second, we use the same basic principle that we use in breaking a horse. And this is for educational purposes. We don't own the rights to this writing, but it is public information. Second, we need to use the same basic principles that we use in breaking a horse, combined with some more sustaining factors. What we do with the horses is that we break them from a form of life to another, that we reduce them from their natural state in nature. Whereas nature provides them with the natural capacity to take care of their offspring, we break that natural string of independence from them and thereby create a dependency status so that we may be able, listen closely, to get from them useful production for our business and pleasure. Cardinal principle for making a Negro. For fear that our future generations may not understand the principle of breaking both of the beasts together, the nigger and the horse, we understand that short-range planning economics results in periodic economic chaos. So that to avoid turmoil in the economy, it requires us to have breathed and depth in long-range comprehensive planning, at articulating both still sharp perceptions. We lay down the following principles for long-range comprehension economic planning. Both horse and nigger is no good to the economy in the wild or natural state. Both must be broken and tied together for orderly production, for orderly future. Special and particular attention must be paid to the female and the youngest offspring. Both must be crossbred to produce a variety of division of labor. Both must be taught to respond to a particular new language. Psychological and physical instruction of contentment must be created for both. We hold the 6 cardinal principles as true to be self-evident based upon the following: the discourse concerning the economic of breaking tying the horse and the nigger together, all inclusive of the 6 principles laid down above. No, neither principle alone will suffice for good economics. All principles must be employed for orderly good of the nation. Accordingly, both a wild horse and a wild natural nigger is dangerous even if captured, for they will have the tendency to seek their customary freedom, and in doing so might kill you in your sleep. You cannot rest. They sleep while you're awake and are awake while you're asleep. They are dangerous near the family house, and it requires too much labor to watch them away from the house. Above all, you cannot get them to work in this natural state. Hence, both the horse and the nigger must be broken. That is, breaking them from one form of mental life to another. Keep the body, take the mind. In other words, break the will to resist. Now, the breaking process is the same for both the horse and the nigger, only slightly varying in degrees. But as we said before, there is an art in long-range economic planning. You must keep your eye and thoughts on the female and the offspring of the horse and the nigger. A brief discourse in offspring development will shed light on the key to sound economic principles. Pay little attention to the generations of original breaking, but concentrate on future generations. Therefore, if you break the female mother, she will break the offspring in its early years of development. And when the offspring is old enough to work, she will deliver it to you. For her normal female protective tendencies will have been lost in the original breaking process. For example, take the case of the wild stud horse. A female horse is a female horse and a female horse and an already infant horse are compared and compare the breaking process with two captured niggers, males in their natural state. A pregnant nigger woman will, with her infant offspring, take the stud horse, break him for limited contentment. Oh, I'm sorry. A pregnant nigger woman with her infinite offspring. Let me read that again. For example, take the case of the wild stud horse, a female horse, and her already infant horse, and compare the breaking process with two captured nigger males in their natural state. A pregnant nigger woman with her infant offspring. Take the stud horse, break him for limited containment. Completely break the female horse until she becomes very gentle, whereas you are or anybody can ride her in her comfort. Breed the mare, and the stud until they have the desired offspring. Then you can turn the stud to freedom until you need him again. Train the female horse whereby she will eat out of your hand, and she will in turn train the infant horse to eat out of your hand also. And y'all hearing this? When it comes to breaking the uncivilized nigger, use the same process, but vary the degree and step up the pressure so as to do a complete reversal of the mind. Take the meanest and most restless nigger, strip him of his clothes in front of the remaining male niggers, the female, and the nigger infant. Tar and feather him. Tie each leg to a different horse facing in opposite directions. Set him afire and beat both horses to pull him apart in front of the remaining nigger. The step is to take a bull whip and beat the remaining nigger male to the point of death in front of the female and the infant. Don't kill him, but put the fear of God in him, for he can be useful for future breeding. The breaking process of the African woman. Take the female and run a sense of test on her to see if she will submit to your desires willingly. Test her in every way because she is the most important factor for good economics. If she shows any sign of resistance in submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her to extract that last bit of resistance out of her. Take care not to kill her, for in doing so, you spoil good economics. When in complete submission, she will train her offspring in the early years to submit to labor when they become of age. When they become of age, understanding is the best thing. Therefore, we will go deeper into this area of the subject matter concerning what we have produced here in the breaking process of the female nigger. We have reversed the relationship in her natural uncivilized state. She would have a strong dependency on the uncivilized nigger male, and she would have a limited protective tendency toward her independent male offspring and would raise male offspring to be dependent like her. Nature had provided for this type of balance. We reverse nature by burning and pulling a civilized nigger apart and bullwhipping the others to the point of death, all in her presence. By her being left alone, unprotected, with the male image destroyed, the ordeal causes her to move from her physiological dependence state to a frozen independent state. In this frozen psychological state of independence, she will raise her male and female offspring in reverse roles. Okay, in reverse roles. For fear of the young male's life, she will psychologically train him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong. Because she has become psychologically independent, she will train her female offspring to be psychological independent. What have you got? You got the nigger woman out front and the nigger man behind and scared. This is a perfect situation of sound sleep and economics. Before the breaking process, we had to be alertly on guard at all times. Wait, 104. Sorry, let me just get this together. This is 204. Okay. Now we can sleep soundly. For out of frozen fear, his woman stands guard for us. She cannot get past her early slave molding process. He is good for food. He is a good tool. Now ready to be tied to the horse at a tender age. By the time a nigger boy reaches the age of 16, he is soundly broken in and ready for a long life of sound and efficient work and the reproduction of a unit of good labor force. Breeding. Continually through the breaking of uncivilized savage uncivilized savage nigger by throwing the nigger female savage into a frozen psychological state of independence, by killing off the protective male image, and by creating a submissive dependent mind of the nigger male slave. We have created an orbiting cycle that turns on its own axle forever. Unless the phenomenon occurs and reshifts the position of the male and the female slave, we show that we mean by example. Take the case of two economic slaves two economic slave units and examine them closely. The nigger marriage. We breed two nigger males with two nigger females. Then we take the nigger males away from them and keep them moving and working. Say one nigger female bears a nigger female and the other breeds a nigger male. Both nigger females being without influence of the nigger male image, frozen with an independent psychology, will raise their offspring with reverse positions. The one with the female offspring will teach her to be like herself, independent and negotiable. We negotiate with her, through her, by her. We negotiate her at will. The one with the nigger male offspring, she being frozen with a subconscious fear for her life, for his life, will raise him to be mentally dependent and weak, but physically strong. In other words, body over mind. Now, in a few years, when these two offspring become fertile for early reproduction, we will mate and breed them and continue the cycle. That is good, sound, and long-range comprehensive planning. Man. Warning, possible interlooping negatives. Earlier, we talked about the non-economic good of the horse and the nigger in their wild or natural state. We talked out the principle of breaking and tying them together for orderly production. Furthermore, we talked about paying particular attention to the female slave and her offspring for orderly future planning. Then more recently, we stated that by reserving the position of the male and female savages, we created an orbiting cycle that turns its own axle forever unless the phenomenon occurs and reshifts and positions the positions of the male and the female savages. Our experts warn us about the possibility of this phenomenon occurring, for they said that the mind was a strong drive to correct, the mind has a strong drive to correct and re-correct itself over a period of time. If I can touch some substantial, original historical base, and they advise us that the best way to deal with the phenomenon is to shave off the brute mental history and create a multiplicity of phenomena of illusion, so that each illusion will twist in its own orbit, something similar to floating balls in a vacuum. This creation of multiplicity of phenomena of illusion essential the principle of crossbreeding the nigger and the horse, as we stated above. The purpose of which is to create a diversified division of labor, thereby creating different levels of labor and different values of illusion at each connecting level of labor. The result of which is the severance of the point of original beginning of each sphere illusion. Since we feel that the subject matter may get more complicated as we proceed in laying down our economic plan concerning the purpose, reason, and effects of crossbreeding horses and niggers, we shall lay down the following definition terms for future generations. Orbiting cycle means a thing turning in a given path. Axle means upon which or around which a body turns. Phenomenon means something beyond ordinary conception and inspires awe and wonder. Multiplicity means a great number. Sphere means a globe. Crossbreeding is a horse. Crossbreeding a horse means taking a horse and breeding it with an ass, and you get a dumb, backward ass, long-headed mule that is not reproductive nor productive by itself. Crossbreeding niggers means taking so many drops of good white blood and putting them into as many nigger women as possible, varying the drops by the various tone that you want, and then letting them breed with each other until another cycle of color appears as you desire. What this means is this: put the niggers and the horse in a breeding pot, mix some asses and some good white blood, and what do you get? You get a multiplicity of colors of ass backward, unusual niggers running tied to a backwards ass long haired mule, and one productive of itself, the other sterile. The one contrasts the other, the one constant, the other dying. We keep the nigger constant, we keep the nigger constant, for we may replace the mule for another tool. Both mule and nigger tied to each other, neither knowing where the other came from, and neither productive for itself, nor without each other. Control the language. Crossbreeding completed. For further surveillance from their original beginning, we must completely annihilate the mother tongue of both the new nigger and the new mule, and institute a new language that involves a new life work of both. You know, language is a peculiar institution. It leads to the heart of a people. The more a foreigner knows about you, the more a foreigner knows about the language of another country, the more he is able to move through all levels of that society. Therefore, if the foreigner is an enemy of the country, to the extent that he knows the body of the language, to that extent is the country vulnerable to attack or invasion or a foreign culture. For example, if you take a slave, if you teach him all about your language, he will know all your secrets and is then no more a slave, for you can't fool him any longer. For example, if you told a slave, I'm gonna try to finish it over here. That he must perform in getting out our crops, and he knows the language well, he would know that our crops didn't mean our crops. And the slavery system would break down, for he would relate on the basis of what our crops really mean. So you have to be careful in setting up the new language, for the slaves would soon be in your house, talking to you man to man. And that is death to our economic system. In addition, the definition of words or terms are only a minute part of the process. Values are created and transported by communication through the body of the language. A total society has many interconnected value system. All the values in society have bridges of language to connect them for orderly working in the society. But these language bridges, but for these language bridges, these many value systems would sharply crash and cause internal strife of civil war. The degree of the conflict being determined by the magnitude of the issue or relative opposing strength in whatever form. For example, if you put a slave in a hog pen and train him to live there and incorporate in him to value it as a way of life completely, the bigger the problem you would have, the biggest problem you would have out of him is that he would worry you about provision to keep the hog pen clean. Or the same hog pen and make a slip and incorporate something in his language whereby he comes to value a house more than he does his hog pen. You got a problem. He will soon be in your house. That's the Wille Lynch letter. You can Google it and pull it up and read it for yourself, but I just wanted to share that with you all tonight. I thought of so many things as I'm reading it. You think of the whole welfare system, the whole system they use to separate black families, taking the men to war, putting the women to work, and then the men come back and they don't honor the men as men that serve their country, but pretty much leave them hang out to dry. Then they gave the women a welfare system, and the government became the fathers of our children. When I look back, I can see, how it was so important for us to go pick up those government boxes on Saturdays with the cheese and the nasty meat that we used to eat and the powdered eggs and powdered milk and just all that crap was all part of the welfare system. But they used the same system over and over again. And it really has, as he said, if you do it right, it will last up to 300 years or longer. And it proved to be so. Because we still have the separation of the black man and the black woman. Or we have not turned, even in trying to turn it, we're having a hard time. It's so ingrained in us that the women don't want to give up their authority and the men don't want to take it, want to walk in their rightful place. And some of us men, we're so used to, dealing with women in authority or at the head that, we just don't even challenge it anymore. We just submit to it. But it's keeping us separated. He says, unless there's a phenomenon and it turns around and it shifts back to where the man is back and gains back the respect of the woman, of the black woman. That's the problem. That's the problem. It's amazing though. But I suggest you Google it and get it and read it for yourself and make your own, develop your own understanding around it. But definitely, I see a pattern in our people and only our people, especially because we're separated, we're scattered throughout the earth. We're not a nation as most all other nations are. Even people that come here from other nations stick together, but we don't know how to stick together because we've been dehumanized. So I hope it was an interesting read to your family. I'm going to get off. I don't know. They might take it down. I don't know. But it's public information. I printed it right off of Google. Right off of Google. It's not like I'm not plagiarizing or anything like that. This is just for educational purposes. They made it available for us. We got it from the system. So, with that being said, we're gonna get ready to stop. It's exactly 7:59. We'll get ready to stop. I hope you enjoyed the read. Again, I think our moderator got kicked out. But so be it, family. Love you all. Abba Yah, we thank and praise and magnify. We pray that this was just helpful for somebody's ear to hear, and that we would seek you more to shift this thing back into our people, back into the natural order that you created us to be in, and not be stuck in this system of how can I say, colonization and just this whole mindset that has been implemented upon your people because of the sins of our fathers. So therefore, in order to get us to this place, this is what we had to go through and are still going through. So we ask you, Abba, in the name of your son, Yahushua, to deliver us, because we know you are, because you promised to come and gather us from the four corners of the earth. So we thank you on tonight. We give you all glory, honor, and praise. In the name of Yahushua, Mashiach, hallelujah, and it is so. All right, family. Love you all. Shalom, peace and blessings. And tomorrow night is Tuesday. We'll be in our own study. Maybe we can go over this on our Zoom study tomorrow night. All right. Love you all. Shalom. Okay, family. Yeah, this was a tough read. I had a tough start. Let me see if I can edit in there. I can only edit the words. Yeah. Studio, pre-record video. Okay. No. That's the public. As always, family, be at peace. Shalom. Shalom.